So what all you have read so far? So any newcomers here, like who's reading now? Only I've started reading newspaper. I have trouble with what to read, how to read. Many people would have asked, still I'm asking again. So I'll go in accordingly. Or you are comfortable with reading newspapers, you know what to read and what not to read. Yes? Yeah, there was a session. No, I'm not asking. I know there was a session in the morning. I'm asking you personally, individually, how are you all comfortable with reading papers and everything? So you know how to approach, right? So in environment section, there are just very less topics. You have the environment section with you? Okay, let's see. First is COP21. It's about climate change. So if you see in the previous question papers, especially mains, there are like 2-3 topics which are repeated again. Mainly climate change, and the next one is energy, and then air, water. Again, all these three you can always put under climate change. So have you all did a basic reading about what is UNFCCC, from where it starts? Rough idea you must be having. Okay, so I'll still tell you something. So we'll just tell you what you have to remember with respect to COP21. COP21 is Conference of Parties, 21st is there, the number of 21st conference. So it's a very small 5-letter mnemonics which says salam, see support. So what was decided in COP21 is including finance for nations to build clean and resilient future. Can you say, anyone, what does it mean, support? See, funding is, yeah. Yes. Development, supporting the development, and what other steps do they take to have a sustainable growth? That is very important. And they keep along with the future, like green finance, green development, green energy fund and all that. So next thing is accounting for climate action. Unlike the previous COP, this time every government, they decided, be it as a developing country or the developed country, or the, you know, this Annex 1 parties, non-Annex 1, you know the difference between Annex 1 parties and all that? Okay, so all of them, they have decided that they will have, they will say every 5 years, they will give a report, what they have achieved and what they will achieve from the previous time. So with respect to accounting, there is a term, if you actually see in the current affairs, somewhere around in the 5th or 6th point, nationally determined contributions to fight against the climate change. Of all the COP, if you say with respect to mains, the questions will not be asked in general about the Paris conference. The questions will be always related to impact of Paris conference, or what India learned from Paris conference, or what are the steps taken by India with respect to the outcome of Paris conference. This particularly nationally determined contributions is very important. So loss and damage. So loss and damage is like, you know, usually before what happens is, if any disaster happens or anything happens, always a private institution or anything, they'll just have liability and compensation. So from this COP, they are going beyond this liability and compensation in loss and damage. Adaptation and mitigation methods. So adaptation is nothing but how to deal with climate change, and mitigation is nothing but how to achieve certain goals. So what India has did with respect to this. So remember the salam and nationally determined contributions. So you know INDC. What is INDC? Okay, I'll ask you a prelims question. INDC first came into picture in which of the COP? No, 21 is the Paris one. It was finalized in Warsaw. In 19th conference, it came into existence. See, the questions will be asked like that. It won't be, there was a question on Kyoto Protocol once in prelims. So since this year, INDC is very important, and India's pledge with INDC is very important, you have to know from where it started. They give you 4 missions or 4 different programs, and then they ask you which of the above program is in alignment with India's nationally determined commitments. Can they ask? Like say, let's say example, Swachh Bharat mission, cleaning of rivers, zero effect, zero defect. They give you 4 programs, and then they can ask you which of the following or which of the above options or programs is in alignment with INDC. So try to know. There is a document in Environment and Forest Ministry. There's a PowerPoint which has shortened the entire 38-page report submission to the UNFCCC, which tells what are the steps taken by the Indian government in alignment with INDC, various mitigation steps, adoption strategies, and then what all the steps they have taken with respect to finance, each and everything. Yes. Okay, there is Annex 1 countries, okay, and there is Annex 2, and there is non-annex, and then least developed countries. Least developed countries have 49 countries from the African countries. Annex 1 countries are, you can say, industrialized countries of the OECD. OECD is a group of countries, okay. So in 1992, there was group of countries which are part of OECD. Only those countries that were part of OECD in 1992, plus the Russian Federation, like especially the economies in transition, those countries like Russian Federation and then certain few Eastern European countries, these will come under the Annex 1 countries. In Annex 2 countries, the whole thing, all the OECD members of the Annex 1 minus the economic the countries which are in economy in transition, these countries. So these countries will fall under the Annex 2. Non-Annex 1 parties are developing countries. So and then the least developed country. So common but differentiated responsibilities is mainly based on, like it was formulated for these 4 countries. Okay. So with yes. Annex 2 are, Annex 2 are developing countries, and then non-Annex 1 or developing. No, non-Annex 1 are developed countries. Developed countries. Okay, I'm just confused. What did you say? Annex 2 are developing, non-Annex 1 are developing. Non-Annex 1. See, first is Annex 1 parties, which are industrialized countries, which are members of the OECD in 1992 plus economies in transition. Then you have Annex 2, which is Annex 1 minus the economies in transition. Then non-Annex 1 are developed. Okay? Developing countries. So, and this map, this infographic, it gives you why India has to take INDC. Whatever it has given, the 38-page report. One is mainly because the carbon dioxide emissions by 2030 it has to increase. It will increase. Mainly because even though we'll be going behind the we'll be doing the non-renewable energy, still we are dependent on coal. The coal will not, whatever our dependency in coal will not get reduced. So, and then electricity is coming from non-fossil fuels, mainly because of that. And still we have given a much optimistic role, like now India in INDC, they have said no, we will do a lot of steps, and then more than finding fault, they are ready to contribute, even though they are not part of the problem. See, whatever climate change issues has had, they were not part of, our country was not part of the problem, but they are ready to share, or they are ready to be part of the solution. So what were the steps taken? You can note down these 5 points. One is targets, subsidies and obligations for renewable energy. With respect to coal, there will be a tax. setting of new coal standards in new power plants, energy efficiency programs. See, whatever steps has been taken, two things will always be kept in mind. One is poverty eradication, the other one is sustainable development for climate justice. This will always be there, any steps that are taken. So the key issues of INDC, that's what I said. One is to focus on the renewable energy. The other one is increasing the carbon sink. What are the various adoption strategy that is followed by Indian government? Like organic farming, right? And then Namami Ganga, all these projects. Just go through. There are so many. See, and in the lines of COP21, there are two important things that is taken care. I mean, which on COP the Indian government released. One is International Solar Alliance. The other one is for renewable energy. Carbon sink. Carbon cess is part of INDC. There internationally, one is renewable energy resources, the other one is solar alliance. See, and then the next one, which is a very small topic. The separate thing is they want to concentrate only on the solar alliance, that is completely on solar energy. And then the renewable energy is all different other, apart from solar energy, wind energy and everyone. Already 6% we have increased from the previous gigawatts, like whatever we are producing the electricity, we have increased our output. Now it will be more. They'll concentrate more on that. Okay, next topic is a very small topic. Indian long-term ecological observations. One is Solar Energy Alliance, the other one is innovation. For the renewable energy, the project name is Operation Innovation. Mission Innovation, something, one of these two. I think it's Mission Innovation. So, Indian long-term ecological observatories. So can anyone say, see already I have given the objective, why it is being set up, like to monitor targeted socio-ecological challenges, and we should have our own scientific database, because we always for anything we depend on the whatever the abroad, like whatever universities or research institutions have findings in abroad, we rely on those data. We don't have our own empirical data. And whatever empirical data we have, it is not did by any biologist. Okay, so the biologists are the targeted people who will take care of these ecological observatories. So far, only such one observatory is there in Mudumalai in India. So in that lines, Mudumalai in Tamil Nadu, Kerala border. So from there, only one observatory is there, and in that line they are planning to have another 8 more. So it will always, it will see on other areas, concentrate the area in focus. Like there should be many areas, like let's say Eastern Himalayas, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Western Ghats. These are where flora and fauna are more, and then along with human movement. So those places they'll see. This is the diagram. Sorry, this is another infographic. So they want to do a long trafficking. If you want to actually find any change with respect to climate, you might have to spend minimum of 3 years to come up with an understanding why a certain change is happening. If a certain change is happening, what type of mitigation efforts immediately you have to put in place. All that you have to see. So they'll be doing it in priority at different places. These are the 8 places you can say. So you can see this is one potential question where you can know which of the following areas can the observatory really work, or this will also give you a map of the last, that said where part, it will also show you where there is more concentration of flora and fauna. Like what are the effects of temperature and rainfall in a certain area, how does it affect the flora and fauna, and what happens to the mammals, birds, humans, and how it affects the pastures, everything. So the next topic will be on environmental crimes. So mostly the previous topic that we saw is prelims related, or you can use that topic as a fact in any of the mains oriented questions. Like if they ask a questions on science and tech policy or in environment, what are the steps taken by the government of India to improve the environmental conditions or even the climate change, you can add this as one of the important steps. This also becomes part of INDC, or India's national commitments, all this becomes part of INDC. Environmental crime. So can anyone define what is environmental crime before reading in that material?
There is a news, in news the compilation of data by the for crime and our body, which come out with many statistics that specifically in the Delhi there is no pollution crime, water pollution.
No crime.
So
okay.
there is a cry for that. How it is possible?
How it is possible? Okay. Yeah, this is the background behind it. Yes.
Yeah, it analyze the data basically in what particular area, in what
See.
that basically statistics will be in this like cybercrime it is increasing.
We have conferences for like climate change. We have data for air pollution, water pollution, and everything. But for environmental crime, we don't have as such any proper data. So NCRB defined what is environmental crime is anything that you do against the 5 laws. One is Forest Act, Wildlife Protection Act, and then Air Pollution, Water Pollution Act, and all this. Okay, but most of the crimes are registered under only Forest Act, not in other acts. Why? Very simple. It is right before your eyes. Because the Forest Act came into existence in 1927 during the British period. So they have very clearly given roles and responsibilities, who is to do policing, which crime has to be done proper, I mean how they have to be punished, who will take care of a crime, per specific crime, and where it falls, everything is proper. But the laws that came after the Britishers, the recent in the 1980s, those laws are very lucid. They are not properly defined. So sometimes even the police don't know. Under Environmental Protection Act, illegal mining and everything, only a showcase notice is given. They don't know it is a crime. They don't know they have to be caught and then they have to be punished. So all this is a problem. So the forest offices, they know. Forest offices, they work for the Forest Act 1927. They work according to that. So they know where to send notice, who has to be found as guilty or caught. But the other things, even the whatever happens in the urban planning, all this is a disaster. If you poach animals, it is a crime. Under which law?
Wildlife.
Okay. So where it has been observed most, which state that's there? In Rajasthan. Okay, the most cases are filed in Rajasthan. Why it was not filed in any other states? Because after the tigers vanished from Saraska, there was a high protection, right? And they could do it. And before that, in other states, there's not much thing. Okay, I'll give you again a very based on how you have to read. Now you have read this news, and then you know what are the various crimes under laws. I'll tell you an option: poaching, trade in body parts of wildlife, possession of wildlife goods, and entering a protected wildlife territory. Protected wildlife territory. Among the 4, which of the option does not or is considered as a crime? Poaching. Second one is possession of wildlife goods, entering a protected wildlife territory to hunt, taking wildlife goods outside the country. Words are very important. See, poaching it's a crime. Trade in body parts of wildlife is not a crime. Only illegal trade in body parts of is crime. The same way, possession of wildlife goods is not a crime. You can always have a small piece of anything, okay? But illegal possession is crime. The same way, entering a protected wildlife territory to hunt without permission, and then taking a good outside the country without permission. So give importance to the words, because that is how the questions are asked in prelims. Okay? Yeah, that's it about. Okay, the last topic for the day is terror financing. So what do you know about terrorism financing? Only hawala. See, what is given in the paper for you is about FATF. What is FATF? It is Financial Action Task Force. And what do they do? How do they stop? Based on their guidelines, India has 2 government organizations. One is IND, that financial unit in India, and then the Enforcement Directorate. How do they stop? This is given. So in general, what I'm going to ask you or tell you with respect to this news is, what is terrorism financing? Okay, how do they do it? Financing for terrorism activities is terrorism financing. And what are the different ways they do it? In India.
Mainly they attack on the, let's say for censored board, BSE or NSE.
Okay.
So they will pump in so much money at some time and then they will put it back. So there will be fluctuation in the market.
Okay, terrorism financing.
Terrorism financing mainly through P-note, I think.
You're talking about money laundering or terrorism financing?
Money laundering also comes, and P-note also, I think, participatory note.
See, all these are one way.
Yeah.
Other ways: drug trafficking, narco terrorism, fake currency, counterfeit goods and counterfeit notes, trafficking of human beings and kids. Yeah, anything, everyone comes there. Yes, next. See, this will be a rapport session where I want answers from you. I can always tell. Illegal trade, yes. Money from crime, how? Unaccounted money from where? Extortion. Okay, see, counterfeit currency, drug trafficking, and very important thing is the NGO and charities. Okay, because we don't have a law which is very strong. So NGO and charities are one way. And then legal financial channels. You know, in India especially, we have this route where you cannot send money abroad through Western Union or MoneyGram. You can receive money from there, but you cannot send money. You can only send through nationalized banks or any banks. And again, they have not allowed the citizens to send money through to Pakistan or Bangladesh or Nepal. So these are the steps taken, precautionary steps. And then through hawala, yeah, that is another very well known, only way that is known very well. Okay, money laundering is one way, like you said, notes and everything, they do fluctuation of markets, but there are other ways also. So how do they get financing through narco terrorism? See, one is they traffic drugs, okay, and the other one, the terrorist groups, they also own certain amount of land in their own areas, they cultivate and then they sell it. This one. And then trans-border mobility in India. unlike US or any other countries, even though terrorism is some recent for them, maybe a 10-15 year issue for them, but for us terrorism is right from our independence, even before that we had. For them, they have a very strong way, like porous borders, but in India there are not much porous borders, but in India we have very porous borders in the movement of goods, mobility of goods. So we don't know in which border, through which place we are crossing. Bangladesh border runs inside the home, right? Very open border. We have an open border for trade, but we don't know how things are traded. So keep the vigilance is not so good. These are the negative points that you can keep, how terrorism financing takes place. And then in US or other countries, if you see terrorism takes place through, I mean it happens through non-state actors, but in India it's not like that. We have from all sides, we have non-state actors, we have Maoists, we have from hinterland, we have Naga insurgencies people, Jammu Kashmir, and then from Afghanistan, Pakistan border we have those people also, state funding. So funding for terrorism, it happens at 3 levels, from the state, from private, and from globalization. So how, these are the challenges you have. How will you approach these challenges? So there are 3 steps. One is prevention, protection, and pursuit. Prevention is, you know this are going to happen, you will have a strong law in place, and once you have a strong law in place for the protection, prevention, protection, and pursuit will automatically happen. Protection is nothing but if you have a effective protection of these laws, you can stall the flow of funds. Unless and until you don't have a proper preventive measures, you cannot protect and you cannot put effective measures to stall the flow of funds. The third one is pursuit. Pursuit is nothing but after you caught, you should have a very speedy judgment. Yeah, like prosecution, basically you have to have that very. This is it about terrorism financing. This has mainly come into picture because of ISIS and Al Qaeda. Yes.
You said in Western countries, terrorism financing happens through
Non-state actors.
but in India it happens through no state.
No, I said it happens through all. It's not just non-state actors. It happens internally also. Na?
How it happens through state actors?
State actors is Pakistan. No. That is external. Pakistan, Afghanistan. State factors is what do you call this? Communal violence and everything. Funding to them and then persuading them. Maoist, Naxal problems. In IM, Indian Mujahideen, ISIS. It is an Indian thing. It is they are not non-state. Non-state is outside the country, and they are not players. IM is also not exactly like state actors. State actors are mainly who are involved in inside, like who has, let's say, who runs a Maoist and Naxalism. They are like governments. They have their own governments and they need something. So they are not non-state actors. So they are inside the country and they also wanted to have a place. They have their own sayings. So there is a parallel war running in Jammu Kashmir. Inside, it happens inside India. It doesn't have.
State actor does not mean like state authority or something like related to.
See, state authority don't go in accordance with constitution state. Okay, no, it is not that state. This state is Indians.
Yeah, like we have Hizbul Mujahideen, right?
You can say IM, Indian Mujahideen. So this is the topics for security and environment in December current affairs. So I didn't take much of your time, just very short. Any questions? I'll tell you. Yeah, I'll tell you. Anything else? My contact details, okay.